Hello, and welcome to the Ride a String podcast. I'm Kevin Sluter.
And I'm Matt Moreno.
And we are bringing you a show about orchestra teachers,
for orchestra teachers,
and those aspiring to be orchestra teachers. When you are in charge of your own program, there is often flexibility in developing your own curriculum. Alongside the typical expectations in what you teach are many opportunities to expand the musical styles your students are exposed to. Anna Macias talks with us about her background and how she's incorporated her personal interests into creating the Lake Travis Fiddlers.
I started playing viola in 6th grade, and just something, my sister was in band. I knew didn't want to do band at all. It just, I was so attracted to the strings, and the orchestra teacher came in, to 5th grade trying to recruit, and I knew that I wanted to do that, so I started playing viola. And in high school, that was during the time when it was, we were bused to, Austin did this whole thing with their schools, and we were bused to different parts, so there were segregation, is that desegregation, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was living south, and they bused us to East Austin, which was a school called Johnston High School, which was predominantly Hispanic community. And so at the time, that orchestra had like 5 kids in it, in the program. And I was playing viola, and I was really upset that, I came from Crockett High School, which was with Sally Banks. Sally Juvenile's her name now. But, we had tons of kids. There was 100 plus in that program. And then going to Johnston, there was like 5 kids. I was so depressed, and I still wanted to play. And my parents didn't understand it. They never played an instrument, and my sister was a trumpet player, so they could understand band. But I was so upset. And so my orchestra teacher said, hey, why don't you try the bass? Try something else. So then I started taking private bass lessons, and just kind of took off from there. I started playing bass, and I loved it, and I quit. And it wasn't until I saw Bill Dick at a concert, and I just happened to see him at a concert. I went and saw this, I kind of took a break for 2 years, and I saw they were giving a concert with a guy named Lou, who is actually the professor of bass at TLU now, and Texas Lutheran. And he, at the time, he was in San Antonio, and he just came in from China, and he was doing a big recital at UT. And I saw in the paper, and I was like, I want to go see him. And so I just happened to go there. Bill was there. Bill Dick was there, and he said, hey, are you playing anymore? And I went, no, but I'm thinking I want to go back to playing. And so Bill said, well, let me connect you with Lou. And so I connected with Lou, started taking lessons, and it just took off. And Bill encouraged me to just to go into education possibly. He knew that that's what I really liked, music at the time. And so I went to Texas State, studied with Howard Hudeberg, and did that whole thing, education route, and graduated. It took me forever to get out of school, but I was I didn't want to leave college. I loved it, and just had a good time playing all types of music, and we're in various bands and stuff, and just kind of just evolved to there, where when I got accepted to UT for graduate school, and then I did one semester there, and I realized I needed to get a job, and so I got a job in Austin that teaching choir. And I knew then an opening happened at Lake Travis, and a friend of mine was leaving mid-year, and she said, if you want this job, come in for the interview. And then boom, when I got to Lake Travis, they said, well, we're going to shut down the program at the end of the year, so you only have like 4 months to work.
This was orchestra?
Yeah, this was orchestra at Lake Travis.
Wow.
So I went, okay, well, I'll stick it out. I just, want to do it. And so I, at the end of the year, parents just really pulled together, and they said, no, we want to have it. We want, we love it, and just if you are willing to stick around, we'll fight for you. So they went to the school board, I went to the school board, and they kept it. So, from that time, I started just really recruiting, and it went from 35 kids, and just kind of, how that works. It's just builds and builds. So that's kind of,
that's great.
That's kind of Lake Travis, and I've been there 23 years.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, that's 20. Going on my 23rd year.
And that's essentially your only job,
pretty
other
much.
than that
because other than choir officially, but I had been teaching private lessons too. That in college, and how we all do that. So
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been at Lake Travis 23 years.
Okay. And so when did the fiddling program actually begin?
Well, okay, it started in year 2000, and it started sort of like a little bluegrass folky group with 5 kids, and we were horrible. and it's just trying to encourage them that they would like the music, like just try it, you'll like it. And so it has evolved so much, but it traditionally was just like music that I was just saying, let's play Faded Love. It's really easy, key of D major, let's do the chords are really easy, I know the bass part, I'll show you the guitar part, I'll show you the, and so it just kind of started like that. Had a few little Mel Bay books that we would kind of look at, and it just evolved from there. Then like much later did I incorporate singing and thinking that I could add singing. It was like maybe about 8 years later that I really incorporated the singing portion of it.
And so were you doing fiddling on your own prior to teaching? Yeah, well,
during college,
gigging?
During college, my nephew started taking violin lessons with Deanna Badgett from Wimberley, and she had a little fiddle group that they would play down at in San Antonio on the Riverwalk, and I would play bass with them, and they would play all the boil 'em cabbage type of stuff, and it was kind of just real hokey and stuff, but I loved it, and so that kind of evolved because he loved fiddling. He liked the whole aspect, even though he was doing Suzuki, and he was like 4 years old, and we got him with a fiddle teacher, and Jimmy Don Bates and Valerie Riles and all those guys that are heavy hitters in the TOTFA area, which is Texas Old Time Fiddling. So we wanted to learn the traditional part, the traditional fiddling, and these guys are the heavy hitters of the that style. So Damien started taking lessons, and then we just we built a band around him. Like we would go play at all these little Opries, and he would do fiddling, and I would back him up. We had a guitar player, so that was my introduction to all that type of music.
Okay.
And so and in the meanwhile, I was playing in a Cuban band and stuff so I was and I was in an all girls mariachi, playing violin with them, and just all trying to figure out what kind of music I really like.
Yeah.
I mean, in the meantime, I like classical too as well. But Damien was really the that started it, because I was around those type of Texas Old Time Fiddlers, and I really love playing bass with those guys.
That's great. And they're all locally based in the Central Texas area?
No, Jimmy Don and those guys, they were living in Burleson, so he would go to lessons like 2 hours to drive out there. I mean, they would spend a whole day. We would go out to lessons with Jimmy Don and those guys. Get in the car, 2-hour lesson to drive over there and then to drive back. It was like a whole day affair for 4 hours. He would usually take 4-hour lessons, and they would give me sheet music. I would go, man, I really like this, what do you do here? So, and we do jams too as well. So I knew that it's trying to evolve from hardcore fiddle music to Western swing. And when Damien got older, we built a band around him, and it was more, more Bob Wills style type of stuff, Bob Wills music. And then he got asked to play the part of Bob Wills with the Sleep at the Wheel Band, with Ray Benson asked him.
Okay.
And so he got an acting part. And so meanwhile, we had this band around him. And then when he got older, he was asked to play with Aaron Watson, who he's with now. And so he dumped us. Like, even though, we were gigging as a band. I thought we were a great band, but, it's his aunt and his uncle and some other, other musicians, and he didn't want to hang around with us anymore. It's like he got the bug to go on tour, and we couldn't do that because we're old, and so and I had a job, and so anyway, but that's kind of the start. And I knew that I could start a band because we started Damien, and and I had been with the Cuban band. I was really the leader of that group too, even though I didn't know that much about the music, but it was like I was the one that started everything with the band. So you know what that's like.
So would you say that when you started teaching, you already came in with that mentality?
Yes,
I could start this.
I knew how to start a band. So when this just kind of evolved in 2000, I was like, I can start a band, little bluegrass band, and had a parent his name's Matt Telfer, and he owns Musicians Woodshed, and now he has 2 locations in Austin. It's great music store, and anyway, he said, I'll be your guitar player. So I had a parent guitar player, and the kids, his daughters were in the group, so that's kind of how it evolved.
So was it like a once a week after school kind of thing?
I tried to get it during the day, but I can guarantee we're on AB schedule. There's no way the kids could not line it in their schedule. And it just, I wish it's not like jazz band. They can mentally think of jazz band being in the class period, during the day, but with fiddle group, it's like, I don't know, how does that work during the day? They can't, it's such an alternative group, so they don't see how it fits in. But I tried it, but it just didn't work out. Like, I only had like 2 kids sign up.
Gotcha.
But we do meet in the afternoons. Yeah.
Okay. So even today, how often do y'all meet up?
We meet, for sure, Tuesdays are designated after school. Like, we'll meet an hour and a half. And then if anybody needs extra help, we'll, maybe a Thursday afternoon, or I'll pair them up. We do peer teaching. Like, I'll say, okay, that you need a little extra help, or what songs do you not know? And so I'll send them with another kid. So
you said it's evolved over the past 18, 19 years. We have singers, guitar players. So what's the instrumentation currently?
Currently, I have electric bass player. I have 3 guitar players, and electric, and I do have a ringer, and his name's J.D. Penley, and he is actually my arranger now. So he's been with me for a long time, at least 10 years, and he's a professional musician in Austin, and we just click. And he was actually with me with Damien Green Band when we had our band, and so, but he's a great arranger for Western swing, 3-part harmony on fiddles and stuff, and so he has a degree in jazz guitar, so he loves to write. So whenever I need him to write a piece out for me, he'll do it. And so we have those, and then I have like 2 guitar players on the side waiting to play. Right, they're on the side, they're not ready, so they're just kind of like waiting. And then I have about, right now, that are playable, that can play on stage, about 9 fiddle players. And I do have some kids waiting, like they don't know. I always tell the kids, if you know 90% of the music, then you're ready for stage performance.
I see.
But it's not until then. I won't put you on stage.
Because it's all by memory.
Everything's by memory. It has to be, yeah. My bass player has gotten away with having a music stand, but that he's the only one. Yeah. Everybody else has to, especially fiddles. It's like, and kids can do it. Kids aren't, I'm the one that forgets, like, how does this song go? I have to look at a kid, how does this go? Because but our brains, as we get older, but the kids, they can memorize anything. Yeah.
And so are these tunes, are they very straightforward from top to bottom, or are they more like jazz charts where you're reading at the top, the head, and then you open room for solos and then return? How does...
I don't teach improv, but I have had kids in the past that that can do it, and so if they can do it, I give them that opportunity. But I mean, there's just not enough time in the day, for me to teach them, and plus I don't know it that well. And so, but the great thing about JD is that he talks a lot of theory in rehearsal. So I do have him for rehearsals, and he talks to the kids a lot about theory if anybody wants to take off on a solo. It's the tunes are structured just because the kids graduate, so I need to have something solid. So we do have structured solos that he's written out and stuff like that. Or I also have had Eric Hokanen write music for me. I have some music from Sherry and Joey McKenzie, who are they were the McKenzies. I mean the Quaby sisters. I know you know who they are, but I mean they wrote all the 3-part harmony for them. When they first started out, they were their teachers. I mean, they're incredible writers, and so they've given me some music, and so but really everything's pretty much structured. As far as solos, like if I have another player playing with us, like JD will take a ride, he'll take a solo, and then if we have, recently I have a friend of mine playing with us, he's an accordion player and a trumpet player, so he'll take a ride, and the kids are learning, about how many bars to wait, what I mean? They get that feel. It's like they're not so much relying on me anymore. Like if JD takes another ride during the middle of a song, it's like they know when to come in as a group, and that's when I know that I've done, that they really understand it, and they get the feeling of that.
I gotta say, I think it is just so unique that we have this culture in Central Texas of bluegrass and Western swing, and then you've utilized that. You've been able to tap into those resources and find a way to make its way into the schools.
But I think it's kind of been selfish because I like it. So I don't know if that's, you know what I mean?
But still,
it's because I enjoy it. That's why I'm doing it. So in this part of Texas culture, I feel like a lot of these kids, these songs, and I do Western swing because this is it's the music of Texas, and a lot of these songs they don't. And one of the really great things, I had a student go to Oklahoma and she went to the Bob Wills Museum and she called me and she said, "Hey, we'll never guess where I'm at," and I'm like, wow, these kids really know. they know who Bob Wills is now, and they wouldn't have known. Or Cindy Cash Dollar. I mean, Cindy Walker.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cindy Cash Dollar is the steel guitar player for Sleepy Will. She used to be. So I know I'm spitting out names like
I know
that's
all
how my
these
brain's
names, and
working.
I'm like, wait, I've heard you say this name like 2 years
But
ago.
Cindy Walker wrote all those great songs, and so they need to know about this female writer. She's phenomenal,
Absolutely.
And so anyway, that's kind of where I'm at.
Wow. So I'm sure that anyone listening to this is probably going to be wondering, well, okay, I live out here and I have no tie-ins with any bluegrass or any of those musicians around. So what would you say, or what would you say to a director who's wanting to start this? Like, what would the first step be, in terms of finding music to get things going?
Well, fortunately, I live in Austin, so I have access to a lot of great musicians, and so. But when I first started, I had Mel Bay, who has some easy written out parts too, if you want to get started, or anybody can reach out to me, and I can have part music too.
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff is really old,
Yeah.
and so you can easily access. But you have to have the team, the kids that really want to do it, and it can be very small, and just it'll grow. And I mean, if you have the desire, you can do anything.
Yeah.
It just
and did you
grows.
grow up doing any strolling strings?
Never, no, not at all,
And
nothing.
Is there any correlation
No.
between the two?
No, I
Just
don't think so. No,
Not with like fiddling or anything, but
not that. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, no.
okay. So, what does it look like in a typical rehearsal? Do you have warm-ups?
What we do is we have a PA system, and usually our sound guy will come. Okay, and he'll set up mics, and we have the back line. So we have all the kids standing, and as in performance, like this is, we have to stand. Sometimes we'll do circles, we'll do a circle in rehearsal, but typically it'll be like a performance where we have to play, because we play under mics, we're not under wireless, and so our sound guy he's walking around going, play into the mic, and he'll say, the lead singer's in the middle, middle mic, and then the harmonies will sing, remember it's always to the right. So we have little things that, to remind the kids, and also to be more comfortable instead of just freezing. Like right now I have a young group, and they seem like, they're just solid, frozen in their, in their stance, and I'm trying to get them to relax, and we're talking about being more mobile on stage and things like that, just be really comfortable. That's what it looks like right now in my rehearsals, and it's like right when they understand and they get it, there's junior, senior year, then they leave and they graduate. I'm like, rats, now I got to teach this young group of kids on how to act on stage. It's entertainment, and they, at that age, and I forget too that, they're so self-conscious about their, what they look like, or what they, they don't want to look dumb in front of an audience, or anything. They're so aware of everything, and so I've got to be, I just look at them, and sometimes their eyes are huge, if I make a joke at them on stage, or just tell them, scoot over, or whatever. But it's just, it's a process. I'm so used to that. But sometimes I do forget. But a typical rehearsal will look like just a lot of me yelling and moving them and saying, look alive, and not necessarily smile, but just look, don't be so focused with playing. It's like, I know they know the music.
Yeah.
They know it by heart. They know it. It's just they need to be more comfortable playing. They're entertainers, and that's what, people are coming in, they're watching us, they want to be entertained.
And during the rehearsals, they have the music in front of them? Or
typically, and I'll let them have music in front of them.
Okay.
I know I need it sometimes, because I'll be talking and doing a bunch of stuff,
Okay. And would you say you accept kids of any level out of your orchestra to come in and fiddle, and it's just a means of if they
I've had middle schoolers, I've had middle schoolers,
really?
and it just depends on the kid. I have kids come in and say, I really want to play with you guys, and I went, okay, well, I've had kids come in, memorize about 20 songs in about 6 months, and I've had other kids come in and learn 20 songs in a year and a half. Where are you going to be in this picture, And I always tell them, I go, I'm not going to force you to do this. This is so fun for me, and it's a drag if I have to bring you along, you know what I mean? So they kind of get that. They understand that. Yeah. So
is there a jazz band program at your high school?
Yeah, there is.
There is.
But I usually I don't get anybody from those guys. I wish I could. I really could use, my saxophone player was actually a violin player. So he's at UT now, but he was double. Yeah, He taught himself saxophone, and he's an all-state violin player. And he said, "I'm going to learn saxophone." So he did, and he learned the licks. JD wrote some solos for him on sax.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
So even the drummer is not really shared?
Actually, the drummer is, I take that back, the drummer is from band. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever run into any conflicts with jazz and
not at all.
fiddling, having concerts or anything?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Never have any conflicts.
So with your orchestra students crossing over into the fiddling, would you say that there are some distinct differences that they have to learn in order to be able to play that style?
I think, let's see. Well, I think with fiddling, they have to be out there, use more bow, definitely use more bow, and just, and they're entertainers. So, I think this has taught them how to be rhythmically, if that makes sense, like aware of where they're at rhythmically, and just, like I said, because if the back line's not matching the fiddles, it's like we got to figure it out as a group of how we're going to stay together as a band. You know what I mean? So that's that's different than with orchestra when we have a conductor and I'm right up front and I'm giving it to them and I'm right there with them.
Yeah.
But with fiddling, we're just all facing the front. With the band.
And have you seen some payoff that you have these kids who are doing fiddling and orchestra, and you start to see it come over into the orchestra in a positive way?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I see. Some of the music's quicker, all the fiddling tunes that we learn and stuff like that. So definitely with Damien, my nephew, it's like it's helped him with double stops and things like that. And granted, some of our with the Lake Travis Fiddlers, our music is more simplified, and so we have 3-part harmony stuff. So we're not doing as many double stops as a traditional Texas style fiddling, player.
Okay, and I imagine with all the performing, it probably helps them get more comfortable with just
Definitely.
performing and having confidence
yes, definitely.
while playing with
everybody
everybody
all about
else.
confidence, definitely, when you're in front of people,
So tell us a little bit about performing. Where do you typically play in a school year, and where do you get invited? Do you line up places to go perform for the community?
Typically what happens is we have what I call our regular gigs. There's a lung cancer benefit that we always get asked to play. We play, there's a restaurant around the corner from the school, Rosie's Tamale House, and we play there every Mother's Day and every end of year, and so she expects us to be there. So that's just fun, regular, typical gigs that we have that are set on our calendar. I get called to do different things around the community. We play all around the Texas Hill Country, maybe from openings to birthday parties and things like that, or I'll get a call. We have a system, so I have one coming up right now, and it's at a church. It's a dance that they're having for the community, and she called me up. Then I text. We have a text group, and I'll text our leader. There's one girl who does all of on the group me, and she'll find out who's available that day, and then I'll kind of confirm it, and I'll call that person back and go, okay, we're good to go. What are our times, or what is this? So, and we have a formal attire too. If it's something formal, we'll wear all black, and like we did the rodeo, Austin Rodeo, but that was more t-shirt, jean type of thing, so, but, so that's kind of how it works. We do have cost. I do pay, JD's being paid. If we have to take a school bus, that is cost. So I put that into that gig, and I tell them this is what this is what I typically charge for an event like this, because it does cost us to go out and things like that.
Sure, because you got to bring your sound guy.
We are
well.
the primary fundraising group for my orchestra too, as well. So all the money that we do make goes straight into my boosters and to help us out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you've also been able to go perform or present at conventions such as Texas Music Educators Association, and did you say Midwest?
We did Midwest.
Okay.
We did Midwest,
Tell me a little bit more about that.
That was called a Unique Performance Opportunities. Is called Outside the Concert Hall. And that was just basically, I had been asked a lot by people just asking me how to start a fiddle group. And so I had just applied to Midwest and just asked if I could do that, and they said yes. And so when I was accepted, that was really exciting. I said, you know what, I'm going to bring the kids too, to play. And so that's kind of how it came about. So I did the clinic, and I was able to take the kids, and we got to play at the John Hancock building way up top, and we had a couple of other gigs in Chicago, which was phenomenal. It was so much fun.
And how did you line that up?
God, to be honest, I don't even remember how that happened. It's just somebody found out we were going to Chicago, and I got in with a music school, and we ended up playing for their group in a music school, which was like a little folk group. So we just had a great time, and I got to take the fiddle group, and it was great bonding. And then I realized that was made a huge difference with the kids and bonding and wanting to become better musicians and wanting to do, hey, they were coming to me going, how about this song? How about let's do this song? How about this one? I heard this one. It's like here these kids are saying, I found out this, I heard this song. It's like a Bob Wills 1930 song. Like, you didn't find it. It's been there.
Yeah.
Nothing's new. But they were like, let's learn this one. So then we took a trip to Fort Worth, and we played the Stockyards the year after that, and that was fun. So nice. We're planning on some other stuff in the coming years. Yeah, that's
really great.
Yeah. But I've done a clinic at TMEA as well too.
Yeah. And you've also performed there, right?
Performance group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As long as you've been doing this, are you seeing nearby high schools start to include it as well?
I've got a lot of calls from teachers that have wanted to start a group, but I haven't heard of anyone doing it yet. I mean, there's a Revolution Strings, and they're out in Abilene, and we've connected with them and with Mark Best and his daughter and Darcy, and they're different though. They're more like barrage style, kind of Celtic, and they're phenomenal. They're great, and so. But as far as I've got friends in Austin that had said, I want to start one, but no one yet that I know of. I mean, I'd be willing to come out and help, but it is time consuming. That having any kind of an alternative program like with Mariachi too as well. It is time consuming, and you've got to spend a lot of time after school with the kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, and there's a learning curve.
Yeah, definitely.
But the kids are interested in it. I mean, even the camps that we've worked together, you're teaching the fiddling elective.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I got second to that.
Oh, really? I wonder.
I'm not a fiddler, though. That's the thing, is that I don't. I always tell the kids, if they ever want to learn Texas-style old-time fiddling, the true fiddling, I can get them with the teacher, because I know great teachers that know the style. I mean, it's complicated. It's tough stuff, and what we're doing is just tip of the Western swing stuff. And we've been very fortunate. We've done 2 CDs, and I've recorded 2 CDs with different groups. And I like to, our first one was more instrumental, and then our second one was all vocal, and we did them at Bismo Studio, so which is Asleep at the Wheels. We were thinking about what studio are we going to use, and of course it was no-brainer, Sleep at the Wheel, because they know how to, they know how to record fiddles, Jason Roberts and all those guys, and so we went in there. We've done two CDs, and Ray's been really great, in supporting us, and he came in the studio and sang on both CDs. So he's on both CDs we have Ray Benson on them, and he's come in and talked to the kids and talked to us about the music business and stuff like that, and because he's in everything and aspects of music business, and so just to and then like I said, I'm really lucky because I live in Austin, so whenever we need a guitar player, if JD's not available, I'll call Rick McRae, and Rick McRae's like George Strait's guitar player, and he lives in Austin, and he loves the Fiddlers, so I'll give him a buzz, and I'll go, Rick, are you available? And he's like, yeah, if he is, because he's so busy, and we played with Floyd Domino, same thing with him, big name, Merle Haggard's piano player, and Sleep at the Wheels, piano player. So all these guys live in Austin, and it's like I've reached out to them, and I'm like, they're like, yeah, we'll do it, that's what, and I used to to be so scared. I was like, oh my God, I would tell my husband, I can't do it. I can't call him. I can't call Rick McRae. And now it's like, I've got him on my cell. So I've like become brave. Now it's like, and that's, I think, how if anybody wants to start a group like this, they have to be bold, and because people want to help, it's music education. They want to, share their experience. But in the when you're first starting out, you're really hesitant to call anybody of that caliber. And I've learned a lot too, and I know the kids are able, when they get older, I mean, how many kids are able to say, hey, I played on the same stage as Rick McRae, who is George Strait's guitar player. And not very many people can say that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to just that fear of trying to reach out to someone who is a big name. Like I actually do a lot of deep searching for string literature that's not common around here, and so now if I have to contact a 70-year-old composer in Budapest to say, hey, I would love to get my hands on this music. I have no hesitation now. And they reply back.
I know.
That's a really big step for sure.
It is,
So what about your former students? Have any of them done anything with this continuing after high school?
Yeah, a lot of them have gone on, and they'll email me or text me and say they're playing in bands and stuff like that. The funny one is I've had this girl who all 4 years never sang. She was a great fiddle player, great violinist in my orchestra, first chair, never sang. I couldn't get her to sing. She was so shy. Okay, so fast forward, and now she's gigging in New York, playing all these coffee houses, singing, has a great voice, and I'm like, where the heck? Why wasn't she doing that with us? But I feel like at least I kind of opened it up to her. She was capable of doing that, you know what I mean, in a small way. I feel like maybe that Lake Travis Fiddlers might have helped her, being a little bit more confident. And so, but she has a wonderful voice, and now she's gigging in New York. But I do have kids that go to Belmont and singing, singer-songwriter type of stuff. I do have choir kids in the Fiddlers, that want to come in, and especially a lot of singer-songwriters that want to go on to Belmont or NEC or something like that and go into music, into singer-songwriter type of programs, and because they know that this is a good opportunity. And we do play a lot. We do. I feel like I give them a lot of opportunity to play. I mean, we're playing at least 4 to 5 gigs a month. We're doing a kite festival in Bee Caves like next weekend, and so we just do tons of different events and different venues and stuff like that. And so
all this, and just for the audience to remember, they don't know, but you're still running a string orchestra program on top of this, and you were doing string concerts and full orchestra. And
we just finished full orchestra.
Yeah.
So,
well, I just think that's just so wonderful.
Well, I have a lot of help. It's just not me.
Yeah,
I've been there Lake Travis 23 years because they've allowed me to do this.
Yeah.
They just support me with everything.
Yeah.
And I have a husband who is our sound guy. And so sometimes occasionally if I'm feeling good, I'll let him sing with us.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I've got JD. So I do have and parents make all with orchestra. I have a great booster program. Parents are awesome, and I have a really good relationship. And so you know how that works. So you can do a lot when you have support.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel lucky.
I think that's just so great having that outlet for the kids, an additional outlet. And I just wish it was around more places.
Right.
And so,
yeah.
Where can people hear you play? I mean, if they want to look up some of the performances you've done, do you have a YouTube channel or?
We are just getting to that. We believe it or not, after all these years, because we do have a Facebook page, and there are some videos posted by parents out there, on YouTube and stuff like that. But I've noticed that a lot of the stuff is old videos and things like that. We need to get stuff up to date. And right now I have a parent that has really nice camera and stuff, and he wants to do a promo packet, but just to send out to other, I guess, big conventions and stuff like that. But we do play a lot, like right now.
And what's the name of the Facebook page?
Lake Travis Fiddlers. Just find us. And we'll post gigs on there, and but a lot of times we'll play a lot of private parties where we can't post stuff. But there's,
Sure.
like I said, the community is really great. There's a restaurant which is attached to HEB, Table 620, and whenever, she's always like, come play. When can you come play for us? And it's a nice restaurant. We'll play their stage, and they have a sound guy, and it's a lot of fun. Community knows us, and it really supports my orchestra. And I feel like, we're the Lake Travis Fiddlers, we get asked to do a lot of school events, and it also promotes my orchestra, because I always mention I'm the orchestra director for Lake Travis High School,
Yeah.
and so I get a lot of parents going, oh, I want my child to be in orchestra.
I hear you talking, yes I do, but you talking don't ring true. I'm listening politely too, but I don't believe a word you say. I hear you talking, telling lies, I could see it in those great big eyes. I hear you talking wise, but I don't believe a word you say. You say that I'm your honey love, I'm all you're thinking of. I hear you talking dove, but you ain't been fooling me. I hear you talking, yes I do, but you're talking.
We hope you enjoyed this conversation with Anna Macias. The song featured at the end of this episode is I Hear You Talkin', as recorded by the Lake Travis Fiddlers. If you have any questions or suggestions for the show, shoot us an email at rightofstring@gmail.com.
Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts and join us for our next episode.
See you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Yes, I do, but you talking don't ring true. I'm listening politely too, but I don't believe a word you say. I hear you talking, telling lies, I could see it in those great big eyes. I hear you talking wise, but I don't believe a word you say. You say that I'm your honey love, talking dove, but you ain't been fooling me. I hear you talking, yes I do, but you talking don't ring true.